Hey, you're a legend. Right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So this is Drone Talk. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching it live, if you're watching it a little bit later and you're rewinding, you want to go through different things. Regardless, thank you very much for joining us. Essentially, I'm putting this all together so everyone can just essentially just come back in their own time at a later date, have a little top up on a different bit of knowledge, a little bit of CPD training for you all. So essentially, we've got a full series that I'm going to be wanting to put together later down the line when I've got different seasons and whatnot. The idea is that any topics that you want me to cover, we can go over and we can just jump from side to side, really. So yeah, I just want this to be a bank of information for you guys to use, take full advantage of, and then we'll move from there, essentially. But yeah, this is Drone Talk. This is with Jamie Cordin, myself. I've been working with copters for about 2 years now. You probably know that already at the amount of things that I'm on, but this is episode number 7. This is all about insurance. I think this will be a little bit quicker. A lot of this is going to be to do with peace of mind, what you can offer. I think we can get caught up in the whole, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, then I can go into the industry and we can go from there. And I think insurances do get overlooked a lot. It's something that we all need, but I think we can take full advantage of it and really go the distance. Obviously, we want to be paying as little as possible. That's the ideal, but let's just do it properly, get the right things in place, and then we can move from there. But yeah, so make sure if you haven't already, like and subscribe. You'll get a little notification when I'm going live. And we are kicking out a lot of stuff to do with copters on YouTube now. A lot of the recorded stuff is going on there. So I'm going to get our own little series on here. So we've got that all put together as well. But essentially, this is going to be here to stay. And if you haven't already, just make sure you have liked and subscribed. So to jump in straight away, we're going to talk about the actual drone insurance. So which is obviously the main thing I'm going to be talking about today. We have different examples of it, different drones that fit in with each different category, but essentially the main guys in the industry, and there are plenty of different options out there, are you've got Flock, you've got Moonrock, you've got Cover Drone. So a lot of people getting into the industry, you might have already heard of these, you might not have. It doesn't really matter. They're all much for muchness. I think for people or drone service providers that are getting into the industry, one of the things that not everyone's aware of is pay as you fly. So a little bit like a phone contract, you can pay as you go sort of thing. You can top it up as and when. For example, when you do your flight assessment with copters, you're generally looking between £3 to £6 for a flight assessment. You'll be flying for about a couple of hours. It's pocket change at the end of the day. It really isn't that much money. So a good way to keep the cost down while we're getting you started is this pay as you fly. So it's one of the things that we use at copters. We obviously do a lot of demonstrations. We do, for example, the drone demo days. We do a lot of flying for companies to show them what the kit can do. We don't need insurance all the time. We just need it for these set days. So it's a good way to keep costs down and you can move from there. Super, super versatile. And it just means you can crack on and then plan in advance, right, I need this, this, and this. I might need it for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on weather, and we can book it in from there. It's like using the analogy of, and I'm sure plenty of people have felt this year with COVID, having a car on the driveway, not driving it, and paying the insurance on it. Lots of people's insurance have dropped down this year, but it's that analogy, isn't it? It's what are you paying for, and do you need to be paying for it? So yeah, in terms of the insurances that I've listed there, so your Flock, your Moonrock, your Cover Drone, we actually had a webinar with the Flock team on, a couple of the Flock team, which is absolutely spot on. It was with our marketing director, Kev, as well. So if you haven't already, again, circling back around to YouTube Live, if you haven't already, jump on, give that a watch, because they do go into a few things there. There's across the full spectrum of CoptersCon, there are so many nuggets, but the Flock one, and the whole reason I'm having this episode is because there are a lot to take from it. There are little nuggets in there that you can take advantage of and stand out against the rest of the crowd. So in terms of copters, we use Cover Drone at the moment, but generally all 3 options are fantastic. We've got really close relationship with all of those three. You may actually be aware of another. There are, I'd say, around 10 in the industry that are really, really great. And again, all prices are very, very similar. It's just what works best for you and your drone, for your fleet, for your fleet of pilots as well. Something to note on this, one of the main questions I get asked is, do I need the GBC? What does it mean to me? And I've just been having a conversation with someone about this as well. One of the biggest things about having a GBC is giving your customers peace of mind, giving your clients peace of mind, and also yourself. But by doing the GBC, generally, as a rule of thumb, you're looking at 30% cheaper insurance. So that straight away is a no-brainer. Looking at the same drone, same amount of time, 30% cheaper. So yes, you are going to have to invest more to do the GBC. You're going to have to do more training. You're going to have to be signed off by the CAA. So there's more hoops to jump through. Of course they are. But the insurance companies are happy with that. They know that a lot of people are getting into the industry with just an A2, doing a bit of flying, they're charging more for it. So really, there are massive, massive benefits that you need to be aware of. That 30% off is a big one. But the next step is peace of mind for your customers and clients. So yeah, if you haven't already, I really would recommend have a look at those guys. So Flock, Moonrock, Cover Drone. They do have loads of different options, loads to go over. But yeah, it's all about that peace of mind. If you can turn up to a job, and I say it's all about building up how you're viewed as a company, how you're viewed as a service. So we've got the drone, fantastic. The data we're capturing is phenomenal. You've got it all over your website, you've got it all over your Instagram, your social media. You're doing great marketing, awesome. Next, you come across well. You dress smart, you're prompt, you're on time, you're doing the right job. Next, you've got things like insurances in place. So you've landed the job, fantastic. Your marketing's doing a great bit of work there. Next, they're looking at what drone do you have? How are you going to supply it? Are you busy? How much work are you doing at the moment? Okay, well, I've got a job on Monday and the next job's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, potentially. What if something goes wrong? Do you have a backup drone? Do you have insurances in place? What sort of area, what sort of job are you doing? Is it higher risk? Is the people at risk? Are the buildings at risk? Is there assets? There's so many different things that you need to consider, and especially for your larger customers, which is where we want you to be aiming. Having the right insurance in place is crucial. So I'll talk a little bit about public liability in a second, but having all these things in place and having a good insurer, good insurance in place, it's absolutely massive, and it can't be forgotten. We do have quite a few people going through the GBC and then they start asking the question, which is absolutely fine. As long as when we're up and running, you've got these things in place, then fantastic. But yeah, the whole point of this is just to give you that insight of what else. But yeah, in terms of that GBC, it's all about peace of mind for yourself, your clients, and everyone else who's involved. The more training you do, the more confident you're going to be at flying anyway. But having these things as a backup is ideal, just in case. And that's what insurance is all about, isn't it? Next, we've got public liability. So not everyone's aware of public liability, depending on what sort of your background is in work. But generally, this is another level of cover. So you got your insurance, that's going to be on the drone. Something goes wrong, you get your payout, you get your new drone, off you go. It's all that what if. Public liability is that same scenario, but for everything else. So in terms of the construction company, just to give you a few examples, construction company, generally you want to be looking at 5 million. Again, depending on what the size and scale of that company is. For media, we find it's between minimum 2 to 5. Construction is up to 10. Generally, it depends. But we have so many photographers, people get into the industry that go, right, okay, I'll get 1 million. That's decent cover, which is okay, but it is scraping the barrel. I completely understand that we are trying to save money at the end of the day, and we are going to build up to it. But it's one of those things that we're already getting people coming back to us saying they've gone for a higher level. It shows us that they work with bigger clients. They're aware that we need to be safe, and that's absolutely everything that the drone industry is all about. It's risk and safety. So they're aware of that. they've been trained to a high level, they've got the OFPA level 4, awesome level of drone, and their public liability is 5 million better than any of their competitors who are also offering to do the job off an A2 CFC. So off the back of doing that, little things like that, 30% cheaper that you're going to do, that you're going to get your normal insurance off the back of doing your GVC, that's super important, because then you can put more money into things like public liability. You can invest a little bit more in that, pay monthly. You've got also little things like your website that you might have gone for a free option to start with, but that 30% saving, now you can push that to a new little display, new theme on the website, more content, a better bit of marketing that you can push out. So yeah, there's loads out there in terms of areas where we can put, keep, or take money from. And I do have these questions quite a lot, and I have these conversations quite a lot rather about, yes, we are investing in a new venture, new drone, new training, and it is an investment. It's an investment in yourself as well. And there are certain things that we can skimp on. I'm really keen on, right, no, save the money, don't have to do that right now. Put that into your drone, let's get the return on investment, and then we can put it into somewhere else. So for example, this is a great one. In terms of insurances, you don't have to go the full hog straight away, but it's just good to be aware of all of this. And essentially, pay as you fly is a great way to start, especially if the weather's a bit rubbish as well. So in the bad months, you can get block months at a time. So for example, I know quite a few companies that actually do 6-month insurances, and then they do pay as you fly when it starts to get a little bit more dodgy, because they know they're not going to be flying as much. So that's absolutely fine. But having these things in place, it just differentiates you from the rest. So you've got an ability to show off, essentially. And it is dog eat dog at the end of the day. So by going to a higher public liability, which I massively do recommend, you are going to stand out more. So yeah, really consider this. I would have a good little look around. If you are looking for more places, do get in touch, because we can help you on that as well. A few different places to recommend, but essentially the main guys, Flock, Moonrock, Cover Drone, they're really standing out. If you haven't already, do go on the Copters Con. Well, go on Copters Con for anything, because that's just a boatload of information and content anyway. But I think it was one of the intros where we had Kevin and Flock. So yeah, I definitely recommend jumping into that one. But yeah, next, and the next 2 points are slightly different. The next level, and again, it's all based around that peace of mind. It's all based around that cover, the what if, what else. So public liability, we've had the drone insurance, which I think they're more obvious. The next step is Enterprise Shield. So Enterprise Shield is similar to Care Refresh. It is only for DJI products. Generally, you'll have warranty on your drone. You're looking at 12 months normally, and then 6 months for your batteries is generally the sort of timeline. Obviously, if you can try and get hold of more warranty, most bits of technology do last for 2 years plus now anyway. But yeah, always push for what you can. But Dji Enterprise Shield, not everyone's aware of it, so I just wanted to quickly run through what it is, what it can offer. When you're looking to buy your next drone, as long as it is DJI, inquire about Enterprise Shield, because it's cover for a year. The standard Enterprise Shield, so for example, let's say, what's a good example of this? The M300. So M300 comes with Enterprise Shield as standard anyway. So that means you get 2 new models. For example, if you crash your drone, free of charge. Oh, sorry, for the Enterprise Shield, you'll have to pay a little bit of premium towards it, but you're not going to have to pay another 10 grand for it. You're not going to have to pay all of that all over again. And it just means if something does go wrong, we obviously keep stock downstairs in our stock room. Right, okay, that's unlucky. Bit of human error came into play, but you need another drone. If you go back to that Monday, Friday scenario again, crash the drone Monday, let's say there was a bird strike, for example, that's not ideal. Drone's gone down, we need a new one for that job on Friday. Don't want to miss a job, never want to miss a job. Little premium goes out, it's normally a few £100 for the Enterprise Shield, and essentially it's one price for the first one, another price, a little bit more for the second model. But essentially for that first year, you've got that in your back of your mind. I'm not saying that you need to be razzing your drone around and really putting pressure and some high speeds in. That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for controlled flying, all about safety, minimizing risk. That's what we're about. But back of your mind, you can think, I'm not going to have to spend another 15, 20, 25 grand on a new M300 because I've got that cover in the back. Something goes wrong, copters can help me out and they can tell me the right next steps to go for. So yeah, Enterprise Shield, and this is for any Enterprise drone. So Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual, all the way up to M300, for example, anything in between as well. If you are using like Mavics, any of the Mavic series, except for the Enterprise, obviously, Inspire, that's actually classed as consumer drones as well. So they're all DJI Care, which I might have had a look at, and generally that's about £100, and it just means you can swap straight away, no mess around. And DJI are fantastic for that, to be fair. The DJI support, if you haven't got that saved on a tab, I would massively recommend that, because they really are quick. They've helped me out a few times with a lot of my customers when we can't always, and they're really, really quick to get you sorted. But yeah, so you've got DJI Care, first step, more consumer. DJI Enterprise Shield, which is your next step. Get 2 copies of your drone if something goes wrong. And a lot of the time with your insurances, with your warranties, that's if the drone goes wrong. That's if there's an accident. That's if there's a problem with it. But human error, you've got that covered by DJI Enterprise Shield, which is ideal. And then next, which is, I'd say maybe just short of a year old, is DJI Enterprise Shield Plus. So this is for people that are investing in a lot of kit, higher risk. I'm not going to say the kamikaze pilots, but more, they might be newer to the industry, they might be nervous for flying. Essentially, for that first year, you would pay a lump sum. So for, I think, M300, you're looking at about £2,600 for the year, Enterprise Shield Plus, and essentially you can have as many new models as you need. Obviously, it's not ideal that you're crashing so much, but it's that peace of mind. And so when you're going into jobs and when you're applying, you can be like, look, I've got my Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, I've got my insurance in place with Flock, I've got my public liability up to 10 million, which I know is 5 million than anyone else sat outside. I've got my off-call level 4. I've been trained by copters, so I'm a really high standard. I've been in the industry this much. I've got this amount of hours. I've also got DJI Enterprise Shield, so nothing is going to go wrong. I've got a backup. No matter what, you've got backed up across the board. That says to them, like, bro, this guy is absolutely sorted. He's got everything in place that he needs. His company comes across really well. He looks like a professional company, personal, comes across well. It's ticking all these boxes. And as I've said in all the episodes so far, where it's the salesman, it's the company, it's the actual content, and all these things, the more you can charge for that, the better it is. The more we can get on that ROI. It's all about that return on investment. So if you have got the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual, we might be able to upgrade to the Advanced soon, or maybe to the M300, or we might branch out to another area. We might get another pilot in, and that's what we're looking for here. So yeah, Enterprise Shield, not everyone's aware of it, so I thought I'd run that by you. It's slightly different to insurance, but it's not missing a job. We work so hard to get a job in some scenarios. A lot of us do fall on our feet in this industry because there's a lot of it out there, but just don't miss a job. If there's anything we can take from this, is have everything in place so we don't have to miss that job. The next step and the final point is slightly different to Enterprise Shield, but just having a fleet of drones. And obviously I'm going to say this working with copters, when we provide drones, but a good rule of thumb is just to have a backup. Worst comes to worst, you can always fling up another drone. If there's an update on the drone and it doesn't like it, if for some reason a camera's not working, a battery is not charged, whatever it might be, having a backup drone is a great rule of thumb, because what if? And it's just getting rid of these scenarios. What if that happens? What if that safety procedure isn't right? What do you have in place? What if there is a crash? Okay, what if? Emergency procedures. When I spoke to Chris Flanagan the other week on that recorded webinar for CoptersCon, And I think that really flagged it up for me as well about how many people do the emergency procedures, how many people do the operational authorization in your ops manual, but then just let it get dusty in the back of your cupboard, in your back of your filing cabinet. Make sure this is live, make sure it's organic and it's constantly changing. Will you be able to recite your emergency procedures if I asked you right now? Would you be able to do that? And what if you get a new drone, there's been a new update? Are you aware of all these new settings and what that actually means for the drone? How that's going to change how the drone acts and behaves? What are your emergency procedures? So there are all these little things of what if, okay? And having a backup drone is a great idea to have. Some people use this for versatility. A really great example of this is the Mavic 2 Pro, which is obviously the most popular drone in the world. But then you might also want to have a look at thermal. There might be the odd opportunity in inspection. So by doing that, you might have a look at the Mavic 2 Enterprise Shield. Obviously, that's been discontinued at the end of summer, so you might stretch and go to the advanced. You've got a backup drone, both are really good. You might be doing a cinematography job, and then you can now rely on the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, for example, for a 48 megapixel camera, which is an absolute cracker. So it's all these little things, having a backup. I'm not saying if you have an M300 that you need to have another one next to it, because obviously that's a hell of a lot of money, and you need to have the jobs in place to sign that off. Having a Mavic 2 Pro in the backpack is a very good idea. Having a drone that's super versatile, maybe a little Parrot to do a job. Obviously, when the Mini first came out, I was furious. I thought it was a ridiculous idea. I think it's a class little drone. I think what it does for the industry is amazing. A lot of people I have actually recommended that they get one. Have one in your arsenal. What if? Just in case, might have one of those. Obviously, if money wasn't an object, if it wasn't a problem, then yeah, of course, we can put you out into all these different areas and say, yeah, we can have one of these, one of those, 4 of them, and off we go. But it's not as easy as that. So yeah, obviously, we want the prime, we want the ideal drone, the main platform that we run by, and then we'll have on a side just a little backup drone as well. So yeah, something to think about, but it's all about that peace of mind. So yeah, having a fleet of drones is a great idea. And then that's really where the off-call level 5 comes into play as well. And we talk about the what if on that program a hell of a lot too. So yeah, that's the episode. Slightly shorter today. In terms of insurances, I do think it gets overlooked a lot. If you do have any questions, please get in touch. Please get in touch. Obviously, it's jamie.coding@copters.com. For anyone that needs anything, if you haven't watched the Copters.com, or if you didn't sign up, do get in touch, because there's so much content online, and get in touch from there. But yeah, I do get a few calls during the week in terms of the episode. Please don't hesitate to get in touch. Gerard, I can see that you've commented there, which is absolutely awesome. Absolutely will. But yeah, for example, Gerard got in touch the other week. We had a really good chat about a few different avenues, a few opportunities that I'd seen. That's absolutely fine. Get in touch. That's absolutely fine. At the moment, normally we'd recommend everyone to come in the office to have a look at some of these drones, whereas we can't quite do that at the moment. So if you've got any burning questions or you want to get in touch, yes, we are pretty busy at the moment, but we'll always find time to get back to you one way or another. So yeah, feel free to get in touch. We can help you out massively. So yeah, that's episode 7. Thank you for joining me. That's Drone Talk. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, any questions, guys, do get in touch. Cheers, guys.